Unaware that he owns the company, wife slaps her husband at a Christmas party, calling him a stepping stone, and slams the divorce papers on him. "You don't matter anymore, Green. You're nothing but a stepping stone, and I'm done with you." Those were the venomous words Rachel Peterson said to her husband at a Christmas party in front of their guests, before slamming the divorce papers on his chest. She had no idea that the man she just slapped and humiliated had already orchestrated the most brilliant financial move in divorce court history. What happened next will make you question everything you think you know about marriage, money, and revenge. Viewers, have you ever been betrayed by someone you loved? What would you do if your wife slapped you and called you a stepping stone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The city lights of Manhattan flickered in the distance, casting long shadows across the penthouse apartment as the last remnants of the sunset bled out through the floor-to-ceiling windows. Green Peterson, successful beyond measure, and the proud owner of a company that had taken years to build, sat at his sleek dining table. His fingers gently traced the rim of a wine glass, the faint hum of the city just barely audible through the glass. Green wasn't the type to dwell on past achievements. He didn't need to. His company was well established, its success virtually assured. His reputation had been solidified long ago, and Rachel, his wife, had become an integral part of the business. She'd been with him through thick and thin, playing a pivotal role in managing the operations after their marriage. When they had tied the knot, Green made her a manager in his company, giving her the freedom to take the reins in certain areas. But she had never been a founder. This was his empire, his creation. Rachel, on the other hand, had always been a driven, ambitious woman. She'd worked hard to help grow the company, to build its connections. And even though she wasn't the original architect of it, she had come to feel a deep connection to the business. Yet something had always been missing for her. Green could sense it, even if she hadn't said much. The quiet hum of the city outside was interrupted by the sound of Rachel's voice. She was sitting across from him, stirring the wine in her glass, her gaze fixed on the table in front of her. "Green," she said, her voice uncharacteristically quiet. "I've been thinking." Green raised his eyes, meeting hers, sensing something in her tone that was different than usual. This wasn't a casual conversation. It felt more like an announcement. "About what?" he asked, his voice calm, but his mind already wondering where this was headed. "I want to start my own company," Rachel said, her voice steady but with a certain resolve. "I've been working in yours for so long, but I feel like I need to do something on my own. I have an idea, something I want to build." Green sat back in his chair, his hand resting on the edge of the table as he studied her. He'd known this day might come. He'd known Rachel was ambitious. But this? It wasn't just about ambition. It was about stepping away from the life they had built together. "Your own company?" he repeated as if to test the words, but there was no mistaking the seriousness in her eyes. "Yeah," she said, nodding. "I want to prove to myself that I can do it. That I can build something on my own without always relying on what you've built. I've got the idea, Green. I just need help getting it off the ground. You know this stuff better than I do." Green paused, his fingers still resting on the table. He knew she'd always wanted something more, but this was different. This was a request for more than just advice. This was her asking him to help create something entirely separate from his own life's work. "What exactly do you need from me?" he asked, his voice steady but cautious. Rachel smiled, but it was tinged with a new, determined edge. "I need you to help me set it up, Green. You've been in this business for years. You know the legal stuff, the structure, all of it. I've got the idea and the vision, but I don't know how to navigate it. You've always handled that for your company. I trust you to do the same for mine." Green nodded slowly, absorbing her words. It wasn't unusual for Rachel to ask for help. They had worked together for years, after all. But this was different. She wasn't asking to be involved in the day-to-day operations of his company. She was asking for him to help her start her own. "I can help you get started, Rachel," Green said, his voice calm and measured. "But we'll need to structure it properly. We need to think about everything, from the legal side to the investors." Rachel nodded, her eyes lighting up with the excitement of starting something new. I'm ready for it. I know I can do this, Green. I just need you to help me set it up. Once it's up and running, I can take it from there. He met her gaze, and for a moment, he saw the same fire in her eyes that had once made him fall in love with her, the same drive that had pushed him to succeed in the first place. But something inside him stirred, a small voice of caution he couldn't ignore. He pushed it aside. All right, he said, finally breaking the silence. I'll take care of everything, including the legal aspects. Once it's set up, you'll be the one running it. You've got to be prepared for what's ahead. Rachel smiled brightly, her excitement palpable. I know, Green. I can do it. The conversation turned to details after that, with Rachel enthusiastically outlining her vision for the business, while Green carefully considered the logistics of it all. But there was something Green wasn't saying, something he kept to himself for now. He was well aware of the complexities of the legal side, and of the risks involved. He had his own business to protect, and helping Rachel start her own wasn't as simple as it seemed. The faint hum of the city was a constant backdrop, like the soft beat of a distant drum. Inside the apartment, however, the silence between them was a different kind of rhythm. Green sat at the kitchen island, the open laptop in front of him, though his focus drifted from the screen. Rachel's absence, the quiet distance between them, filled the space. It had been a few weeks since they'd made the decision. Rachel's company was coming together. Her meetings with investors were progressing, and she had fully submerged herself in the project. It was everything she'd wanted, and Green had been there, every step of the way, handling the logistics, the groundwork, everything. But something had shifted. Green hadn't realized how much it would change things until now, until he found himself sitting here, in this space they had once shared so fully, and realizing just how little she needed him. Her dream, her ambition, they had always been part of their partnership, but now it felt like she was drifting away. His phone buzzed, dragging him back to the present. He glanced down at the message, a reminder from the lawyer to review the finalized paperwork. It was done. Everything was set up. The business was legally sound, but Green wasn't sure it was the right move anymore. Not when he saw the way Rachel's eyes lit up whenever she spoke of the future. Without him. A faint sound broke his thoughts. Rachel was walking down the hallway, her footsteps quick, determined. She didn't need to ask if he was busy. She knew he always had something to do. She entered the kitchen, and for a moment they simply exchanged a glance. The type of glance that had once been filled with understanding, with shared excitement. But now, it was empty. Green quickly looked back at the screen, avoiding her gaze. I need to finalize the meeting with investors next week, Rachel said, her voice professional. Detached, Green nodded. He hadn't missed the distance in her tone. She didn't need his help anymore. Not like before. I'll make sure everything's in place, Green said, his voice neutral, though something in him felt tight, constrained. She didn't acknowledge the strain in his voice nor the distance in the air between them. Instead, she pulled up a chair, sat down, and began sorting